Voss artesian water from Norway. Splendidly still or luxuriously sparkling. Voss artesian water from Norway.
Disaster Planning and Response Art Rescue is a first responder for the world of art, providing planning, packing, evacuation, conservation, and storage for all your treasured possessions.
It's great to have you here. We have such a fantastic show for you tonight. For those of you who have never been here before, my name is Elysabeth Alfano, and what I do is I invite 3 celebrities and a chef who cooks for us. So over food and wine and chocolate and some impromptu performances, the conversations flow. So that's pretty fun. But what makes it more fun is that you guys are a part of it. So I see you've already started in on some wine. Good for you. You've got some great food coming tonight from Longman and Eagle. We've got some great chocolate from Vosges. But what's better even than that is that you guys are a part of the conversation. So pull out your handy-dandy cell phones, get on Twitter, and send me your questions on stage. So I think we have @FearNoArtChicago, that's CHGO. Fear No Art CHGO, hashtag the dinner party. Send me all your tweets. My fantastic social media director, Allie Drum, is going to be going through all of them, and she's going to pick the best. And if your tweet is picked, we're going to ask your question on stage, and you're going to win Bears tickets. It's pretty good. You're going to win dinner for 2 at Longman and Eagle. Dinner for 2 at Longman and Eagle, Bears tickets. Everybody, get your phones out. Get ready to Twitter. So I'm going to give you a little time to get situated, to get your cell phones out. I'll take this moment then to thank my sponsors because, of course, nothing happens without them. You should all be drinking some fabulous Voss artesian water from Norway. We're lovely having them at the table. I, of course, want to thank the Illinois Center for Broadcasting because they're helping us stream live tonight on the Sun Times. So if your friends aren't here, they can be watching live. So tell them, chicagosplash.com/dinner party, and welcome to everybody watching us on the Sun Times. I also want to thank Windy City Media Group, because they're fantastic, and of course, DPR Art Rescue. I would not trust my art or furniture, conservation, and shipping to anyone else. I thank them very much. Okay, we got the business out of the way, so hopefully you are all online with your Twitter. Please help me in welcoming my first guest. This is such a treat for me. This is the first sports person that I've ever interviewed. So I'm thrilled to have with me tonight the General Manager of Chicago Bears, Phil Emery. Have a seat. Sir, you're right there. The Bears are in the house. It's so exciting. Okay, so to know her is to love her. She is by far the best singer in Chicago. Please welcome Lynne Jordan. So Lynne is hobbling around tonight. Sit right there. In great spirits, tiny knee injury, but great spirits. Good. My last guest, it's wonderful to have him here with me. He is a poet, but equally as importantly, he is the co-founder of a wonderful poetry festival, Louder Than a Bomb. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Please welcome Kevin Coval. Whiskey in hand. Okay, so I'm thrilled to have all of you here tonight, and you all have something in common that you probably don't even realize. So as much as I want to get to our conversation and talk to all of you, I can't really focus because I know that we have food from Longman and Eagle coming our way. So let's take a peek and see what Chef Jared Wentworth is making us for our appetizer.
Hi, I'm Jared Wentworth from Longman and Eagle, and welcome to the dinner party. Tonight I'll be making a confit of octopus with citrus and black olive caramel. With our octopus confit dish, first off we're going to warm our octopus up. This is octopus that's been confited for about 7 hours in extra virgin olive oil. And we're just going to put a little warm up onto it. This is really the only cooking part of this whole dish. The rest is pretty much salad. So while our octopus is heating up, we're going to move over and make our salad for it. It's a salad of fresh citrus, fennel, with a chickpea vinaigrette. We're going to mix some heirloom grapefruit, a little bit of shaved fennel, some more heirloom grapefruit of the ruby red variety, and some Meyer lemon. We're going to add a little bit of hydroponic watercress and mix our vinaigrette of chickpea and harissa, which is a spicy Tunisian spice blend. We're going to mix it with our hand. This is, right here, a black olive caramel. It's made with Moroccan cured olives and caramel. We basically warm the olives up into the caramel and then puree it in a Vitaprep. So we're going to put a nice little swoosh on the plate. And we're going to plate our octopus. We're going to garnish with our salad. And then a few of these lovely red microgreens. This is heirloom red sorrel. That's our octopus dish for the night. Confit octopus with citrus, shaved fennel, and black olive caramel.
So Jared is about to come out and talk to us. He's taking a little break from the kitchen, I think. Jared, are you in the house?
I'm right over here.
Oh, hey, good.
Hi, guys.
Come on out. Okay, Jared.
Hi, everybody.
So, what I am most, and for most of you, your dinner is coming. So it's coming right now.
It's flying out of the kitchen as we speak.
It's flying out of the kitchen. So what I wanted to talk to you about is whenever I go to, I've been to Longman and Eagle. How many people have been to Longman and Eagle? Fantastic, right? And
Thank you very much for coming out.
His new restaurant, Du Sex in Pilsen, is equally as good. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But when I see the things on your menu, I always think, oh, they're going to be twice as much. And how is it that you keep your prices so low?
I just lose money.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm really impressed. It's like you have the people in mind because, first of all, he's the only Michelin star gastropub in the city. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay, so I think that tells you a lot about his philosophy, the kind of food you're trying to serve, and yet you're trying to keep it sort of on the down
We try to keep it everyman. You know, I don't want anything too expensive. I like to have a busy room, and keeping our prices really low, that's that.
That does that, of course. So we just went to Du Sex the other day, and it's been open about 3 weeks, I think.
We're at our month anniversary today.
Okay, jam-packed, and there's been no press. You don't even have a website yet, and Longman is Eagle is like at 3-hour waits.
Yeah, it can be tedious to wait for a cheeseburger some days.
So have you ever thought of expanding Longman?
There's nowhere left to expand to. We have the hotel up on the top floor that has 6 rooms, and so there's just nowhere else to go.
So it's another cool concept that he has a hotel. Who stayed at the hotel? I never have. Oh, someone stayed at the...
Woo! Sorry for the noise.
Yeah, so you were saying a lot of like music people stay there.
We get my partners are in the music industry, and we get a lot of interesting musicians, actors, directors, kind of somebody who wants to be out of the norm in a hotel.
Because you're, 2 miles west of downtown at least. So
at the end of the day, we're a whiskey bar.
Yes, right.
And so if you want a good night's sleep, probably don't come to our place. If you want a really kind of garbled morning sleep, come on over.
Okay, so I'm going to have to spend a night at Longman and Eagle, basically. It's
we keep a stack of wooden nickels in every room for free whiskeys down at the bar.
Oh my God, whiskey for everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit. I know you have a lot of work still going on in the kitchen. You're working on our entrees. But,
We're doing things back there.
Yes, I know you are. So we're going to have you back when your job is totally done.
Fantastic.
We'll let you run back to the kitchen.
Sounds great. Thank
Great
you.
to have you, Jared.
Thanks,
Everybody-
guys.
Yeah, eat up. Okay, so I know this is funky that we're eating, but everyone go right ahead. We're all eating, so we're in it together. The thing that you guys have in common that you maybe don't even realize, but I asked you all together because you're both so interested, you're all interested in organizing community. So Kevin, I mean, you've done so much with your poetry festival and really giving kids that opportunity not just to express themselves, but to come together. Lynn on Facebook, you do more than anybody I know. I mean, you're really about community, the whole artistic community, and just kind of being open for people. And then Phil, you you have, really sort of taken Chicago and warmed their hearts because you've given such long press conferences and really reached out to audiences, and you're really sort of trying to bridge that gap, whereas a lot of general managers are all about sound bites and then they're off, and you've really sort of reached out to the audience. So you all have community in mind, and I wondered, sort of starting with Phil, is developing community for you, has that always been a goal, or is that just kind of the perk of loving what you do?
I would say it's a goal in a sense of just loving to share, and I think the Bears, in terms of this community in
Yes.
the city of Chicago, is everybody wants a piece of it. So why not share it in the best way that we can? And it does unite our community, especially when we win.
Yes.
But,
yesterday was tricky. So close.
It was tough, but
Yeah.
I know it's beyond that. I mean, the Bears is obviously most historical franchise in the NFL.
Right.
But it does bring people together, and we're really realized it. I was here in 1998 as an area scout, but lived in Florida. So I had a different view of the Chicago community and the Bears. But coming here as GM and understanding which true love and passion for our team and the organization, and how important it is for families just to be able to reach out and touch people in a different way at our games and our events, that it really is. It's a community. It's held by the community. It's not the Chicago Bears organization. It's Chicago's team, and that it's my responsibility as in a leadership position with the Bears to share it in every way that I can. And I probably just talked so long that most of the media members would like it if I talked in sound bites, but I'm not going there.
But you have a way of reaching out to the audience and really explaining to them your philosophy. So you're not sort of just shoving it down for people. You're really interested in them having a part in it or taking part in it.
Right. You understand the longer you're in any field, really people just want to understand what you do. They have a true interest, and it's our job to explain it to them in a way that it conveys and makes sense to everybody that, we're trying to do the right things for everybody, for the common good or for the better good.
Right, yes, of course. So it's a lot of the same for you, because you're, like he was mentioning, families coming together for Bears games, and you're all about sort of creating that your own family in a way with Louder Than a Bomb.
Yeah, part of what we try to, Chicago is the greatest city on the planet. I think we could agree.
Yes, we know this. We know this.
But it's also one of the most segregated cities in the world.
Right.
And so part of our philosophy is to do the work of community organizing using the tool of hip-hop poetics. And so we're rooted in a great Chicago tradition of organizing. Saul Alinsky went to the religious institutions in order to organize, to bring people together to create change. And so that was the same, there's the same strategy that got Harold Washington elected, our first black mayor, and eventually got Barack Obama elected. And so we kind of mixed that with Africa Bambaataa, who's a hip-hop organizer in the Bronx in the 70s, of bringing together young people from all across the city. Because if we didn't create a central space where they could share stories with one another, kids from the West Side would never meet kids from the North Side.
Right.
Because we live in that kind of radical segregation. And so we're trying to do something different. We're trying to, we talk a lot about creating a new culture for a new city. And we think if you change the culture, you could change the politics and you could change the policies. And you could have, more stuff that's fair for all kids in this city as opposed to just those who go to the University of Chicago Lab School.
I think of you guys as having so much in common because sports can do that as well. It can bring people from different walks of life and bring them together with that common goal, just like poetry.
Ours is a sports model in a lot of ways.
Is that
And
right?
my pops, who's in the audience, actually.
Your dad is here?
Yeah.
What
Danny
the
Coval
heck?
in the building.
Stand up.
You know what I mean?
Where are you? No, he's so sorry. He wanted to be left alone. You see what happened when you mentioned your dad?
Just don't give him a microphone though, because he'll go on and on. But he put me onto the idea a long time ago that I played high school basketball here, and that same model of using sport to bring people together. We treat hip hop poetry like a sport, and it rallies a community around supporting that team. And so it's really amazing to see a high school or a community come around hyper-literate, nerdy kids doing the work of being poets.
Yes.
And so we see the poets in high schools now walk around like they're star athletes. Like the star quarterback doesn't get as much love in some of the schools as the kid who's like hyper-prolific with the pen. And so that is a weird moment in a high school when that happens.
Well, so that really is changing culture.
Yeah.
That really is. And I think of Lynn as you are the community organizer. So you mentioned, bringing people together. You should see this woman on Facebook. Is everybody here friends with Lynne Jordan on Facebook? Because, yes, I bet you are. I bet half the audience is Lynne Jordan's friend on Facebook. You really rally people together.
Well, I'm just in keeping with the conversation. Music is definitely the universal language.
Yes.
And it's, of course, that's what you're based in also. Sure. I mean, you have the sports model, but it's music. It's hip hop. Yeah. And many years ago, someone said to me, I was doing an event actually for Northwestern, and I don't know, somehow the chaplain was involved, and he came up to me and he had said, this is going to sound really hokey, but he said, your music is your ministry.
Ah, nice.
And I've never forgotten that. And a lot of times, even if I'm doing a wedding, or especially if I'm doing a public event that's open to all of the city, like Taste of Chicago or some street fair where you really do get a little bit of everyone. The music, everyone's dancing.
Yes, right. Yes, the music really brings people of all walks of life together.
And all races. And,
yes, right.
And if you're doing covers, people recognize some stuff, especially the old school stuff. And it's a beautiful thing to see people that were just a random group suddenly become a community just for an hour.
Yes, right. And then that sadly dissipates, but you feel that they can come back and, maybe there's change in that.
Well, you never know what's going on out there. You see people that were over there, and then another group over there, and then suddenly they're dancing together and they're talking and laughing. And the beauty of social networking, you can see that person and chat with them.
And you do.
Yeah.
So you can get all parts of Lynn's life.
And they do come on my wall, and I do have people. I mean, I love it though. It is a great way to unify, and I've seen friendships develop from very diverse cultures.
Right.
And I had a new friend who actually was from the Middle East, and she's very shy, and I kept commenting and pointing her out because she's a singer and a painter, so I kept posting her stuff, and a blues artist in town commented, and now they're friends.
Yeah, so you never know what connection's going to make.
You just never know.
So why do you think each of you has been successful at bringing community together? I have a hunch, but I'm interested in what each of you thinks your talent is for bringing people together.
Well, I think that I think young people have a desire to cross every imaginable boundary that is resurrected or erected before them. I think, I don't know how many younger folks are in the house tonight, but, when some people. I'm a grown-ass man, but I'm young at heart, you feel me? And I think that, when you're young, you're like, look, you can't really tell me where I should or shouldn't go. You can't really tell me what I should do.
Yeah.
And so young people have this desire. I mean, basically the festival is like kids from the south side want to holler at pretty girls from the north side. You know what I mean? Like ultimately that's part of what the high school experience is about. And so, we need to create a city culture that is for all young people. And they have that innate desire to see their peers across the city. And
Are you running for politics?
It's funny.
There's a maybe there.
No, I'm not. I swear too much. I drink too much, and my politics are too far to the left.
Well, okay, but
maybe one day. You feel me? Maybe no. Okay. All right. Hey, look. Not too far to the left. All right. Let's talk afterwards. I'm down to run for mayor. You know what I mean? Make that happen. I know the current dude needs to get out. I know that much. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
alrighty.
Shots? No one. A lot of Rahm Emanuel fans in the house, right?
Challenge anybody.
All right, yeah, no doubt. All right, cool. I'm down. So we'll talk afterwards.
Okay, so he's challenging anybody. So wait, you didn't answer my question though. Your
What was the
trait for
question?
bringing community.
Oh.
What do you think your specific
Oh, yeah,
trait
yeah.
is for rallying people together?
You know, I feel like part of what I think a good community organizer is a bridge builder, and so part of what I think I do in my work is
Yeah.
create connections between communities that typically would not see commonality. You know, and so I think that that's essential. I think if we're going to create a new city, if we're going to create a new country, we need to bring people together who currently might be in their imagination at odds with one another to create solidarity, to work together to create a more beautiful place that's just for all people, you know. So I think that's part of what I do.
I agree with you. You do that, and
Word.
really, really powerfully.
Thank
What do you think your trait is?
Well, you know, it's interesting that Kevin talked about the competitive element. You know, when I was in school, in college, there was really kind of a movement away from making sports less competitive and less about the score. But I really believe that the competitive element brings out the best in everybody, and in a lot of ways, and it actually brings people together because you gain an appreciation for the differences in people and their strengths and weaknesses, and how you can help one another at the end of the day once the battle's over. But the other thing I would say that what has really helped me and really helped me grow, I would say that I was a very immature male, and that I thought of things a lot about myself, but that my daughter, who is a handicapped person or a special needs person, and seeing her grow has really helped me understand the uniqueness and individual differences in people, and that helps me a lot in my job, because our athletes and the players in all walks of sports are very unique and individual people, and you have to gain a feel or substance for what that means if you're going to help put people together and make it mean something at the end of the
Well,
day.
I'm so happy that this is such an interactive audience. What to me, what you have is that you're so open-minded. So you come to, you know, it's not often that you see a leader in the sports community that is so open-minded. I'll give you an example. So he and I met. We actually never met before today, but we were in the same, let's say, space in the sense that we were on an interview together with Rick Kogan when he was on WBEZ, and you called in, and I was actually in the studio. So we met sort of over the airwaves, and you immediately said to me, but I love art, because I said, you know, oh gosh, Phil, I don't really know what I'm going to talk to you about. I don't know anything about sports. And you said, it doesn't matter because I love art. And I thought, well, great, then you can be on my show, The Dinner Party. And so that's how this happened, and you were so open-minded to the idea.
Well, you know, my wife, who's part of the
Yes.
pre-show, is
And-
an artist that helps gain appreciation. But
Yes, I want to plug Beth there. Did everybody
Yes.
get to see the artwork? I hope so. Beth Emery did such beautiful artwork, and we wanted to include the art tonight. So not a typical gallery here. We made wonderful space, but it doesn't have, you know, spotlight activities. So be sure to come back. I believe, Beth, you're in the audience. I believe it's up for a couple days. Beth? Yes? Yes, it is up for a couple days. Yes, so we'll say yes to that. So, you know, in the natural light, you can see the work tonight, and you can also see it in the natural light. And I say that because Beth has extreme talent with color.
yeah,
Really something amazing.
I'm going to interrupt you though and tell you
Yes.
that you were a challenge.
I'm a challenge.
You're a challenge because when the producer of
I love to hear
WBEZ
this.
called
Oh, yeah.
and said, well, you're going to be on with these three people, and it was explaining to me who each one of you were, and said, now Elizabeth, she does Fear No Art and dinner parties, and she's into the art community, and she professes to know nothing about football, and she's probably going to be a fly on the wall and not ask you any questions and not interview. And I thought, well, I need to find out about this woman so I can ask her a few questions, and pulled you in.
Yes, you did. You pulled me right in. So that I didn't even get a chance to let Lynn answer, but I'm going to jump right in and answer, maybe not for you, but sort of.
Don't let
for
her
you.
do that.
What,
Go ahead, honey.
so you've mentioned great traits, but what I think you all have in common, and I think, so when you bring together community, you're looking for connection. And the only way to connect is to be authentic. And all of you are so authentic in what you do. I mean, I remember when you reached out to me and said, no, but I love the arts and I'd love to come. And I thought, and all of your emails to me since then have been just so authentic and so genuine. And you feel that from you on Facebook. You really, you hold nothing back. And you are so dedicated to your cause, as you can kind of feel when you hear him talk. So you all are incredibly authentic. Plus, Lynne Jordan kind of has a style that I'm waiting for you to pull out your fan.
Well, if I have a hot flash, I'll be pulling it out.
So we have a tweet for you. I told you, Lynne Jordan style.
You rock the boat.
I know. So I have a tweet for you, and the tweet is kind of long, and it's from Mig Rays. Mig Rays, you have won CDs and a DVD from Miss Lynne Jordan, so good for you. How can we encourage everyone, especially the kids, to channel their inner artist to change the world? Yowza, good luck with that.
Well, I think exposing children to art. I was lucky. I mean, I came from a working class family, but my parents were all about museums, opera, musical theater, some drama, lots and lots of music, lots of records. And I think from the home, if possible, or reach out to children that you see around, that you can expose them to art at a young age, so that it is not a big, what is it? It's I think the younger, the better.
Yeah, no, I think that's true, because you don't wake up one day at 40 and say, like, I know, I've got nothing to do today, so I'll go to the Art Institute.
Yeah.
If you don't have it when you're young, you're just not going to do that. But I think it would be great if we were all exposed to a little Lynne Jordan singing. What do you think? Everybody, would you like to see it happen? Okay, so she's hobbling around today, so we're going to cut her a little slack.
I am hobbling, everyone. I hurt my knee. And this is Raymond Glower playing piano for me.
Woo!
This song I'm going to sing, this is a special request from one of my
Phil.
guests.
Phil has a special request.
My power pack fell down my pants. I'm sorry.
Really? Really?
I was trying to adjust it so that...
Really? So I guess that maybe is a call to my production assistant. We've lost...
Oh, no, I got it.
Oh,
It's
all
kind
right.
of fun, actually. No. Oh, does it vibrate?
I don't
No, I'm just
know.
kidding.
We're taking the
I'm
show
sorry.
down a notch here.
Here I've stirred, and I only had a couple sips of white wine.
I'm trying to get you some red wine. I don't know if people are in the house that can help us. Oh, she's brought out the boa. It's all
Yes,
downhill from here.
excuse my hobbling. I have an injury. It just occurred. So here I'm going to use the back of your seat to hobble around. Anyway, Phil said he loved this song. The title of the song is, If I Can't Sell It, I'm Gonna Keep Sitting on It. Okay. And normally I would run around and do kicks, but... Oh, and this song requires group participation from you. So maybe we ought to practice that. Just say yeah.
Yeah!
Impressive. Okay. I want to tell you a story. Would you like to hear it? Say yeah!
Yes!
I own a second-hand furniture store, and my prices are pretty fair. That is, until this real cheap son of a gun I know saw this chair he wanted to buy, but wouldn't he claim the price was too high? So I looked him straight in the eye, and this was my reply. You want to know what I said? If I can't sell it, I'm gonna sit down on it. Ain't no need to give it away. Now if you want this, 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 daddy, well, you're simply gonna have to buy it, and believe what I say. Now, how'd you like find this waiting at home every night. Okay, I forgot to give you all the full instructions. When it is apparent that I am asking you a question, and the answer seems to be filled with praise, and it'll mean for you to make me feel like a goddess, feel free to respond, okay? Don't make me have to stand up on my bad knee. I'm gonna try. Look at this pain I'm gonna go through for you. So you ready? Now, how would you like to find this waiting at home every night? Yeah. Only been used once or twice, and it's still nice and tight. If I can't sell it, I'm gonna sit down upon it. Ain't no need to give it away. Now you won't find a better pair of legs in town. And a back like this, oh, not for miles and miles around. So if I can't sell it, I'll simply sit down upon it. Ain't no need to give it away, because it's built for comfort and made. Oh, this song is kind of dirty. I'm sorry. Made. No, it's not. It's not. You have the dirty mind. It's all. We're talking about a chair here, because it's built for comfort and made for wear and tear. Where else could you find such an easy chair? If I can't sell it, I will continue to sit down upon it. Ain't no need to give it away, because it's a lush and a plush. Yeah, plush. Slick and sleek. Why, darling, a highly priced piece like this at any price is cheap. So if I can't sell it, I'm gonna keep sitting on it. Ain't no need to give it away. Now I said, oh, look at this fine bottom. Ain't it easy on the eye? Well, that was a little delayed reaction, but we're gonna do that again. Oh, and that thing fell down again.
No, we got it. I just was telling you. We got your back since we're talking about it.
Oh, it's a girl. All right, here we go. Now I said, look at this fine bottom. Ain't it easy on the ice? Guaranteed to support any weight or size. If I can't sell it, I'm gonna keep sitting on it. Ain't no need to give it away. If I can't sell it, I'm gonna sit down on it. Ain't no need to give it away. Now here comes your part. If I can't sell it, what am I gonna do?
Sit down on it.
Oh, ain't no need to give it away. Come on, a little more energy, a little more volume, y'all. If I can't sell it, I'm gonna
Sit down on it.
Ain't no need to give it away. One more time, y'all. If I can't sell it, I'm gonna
Sit down on it.
Oh, who's that over there? Holding those notes. Brazil did my makeup today. These aren't my lashes. blushes naturally. I'm sorry I can't dance for y'all. Ain't no need to. Wanted all this.
Fantastic.
Okay,
so with the exception of the wonderful Lynne Jordan, who really should lead the world into happiness, I'm wondering, since you all sort of, I mean, your poetry has taken you to.
Wait, just real quick, did you requested that song, right?
Oh, heck yeah, it's a beautiful song.
I don't know if he heard all the
Little
lyrics.
freaky to GM of the Bears, I'm just saying. All right.
Lady has some pipes.
I agree.
No doubt
I
about
told
that.
you he was open-minded.
I see
He's
that. I see
open-minded.
that.
Oh,
No,
it's not that outrageous.
No.
It's double
I figured.
entendre.
Yeah, I know you are now.
Yeah, that's
If
what I
you
figured.
have a
I figured you'd
filthy
appreciate
mind
that.
with that.
Yes,
I was singing about a chair.
that's
Right, Lynn, right.
Okay. I know metaphor.
That's right.
You
you're
do
a
know
poet.
metaphor. So, okay, you guys run in a lot of, particularly you, of course, but you too as well, run in a lot of celebrity circles. And, you know, I wondered, we have this star-crazed public around us, and I wondered, maybe we might even get Marty Bennett is in the house. Do you guys know? Yes, of course you know. The artist and the football player, not just the football player, the artist and the football player, and his work, which is so creative and so interesting if you let him tell you about it, is also out there. So you can see that with Beth Emery's art, which is just wonderful. But we live in this really celebrity-crazed world, and I wonder, you know, we start to put celebrities on pedestals, and we treat them as if they're our leaders. But they're not, but they almost have as much voice as our leaders. And I wonder what you guys think about that, if celebrities should be leaders, in the sense that should we listen to what they say, and they have the public's, you know, attention, so.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they are leaders, and of course we stay listening to what they say, but I think that we also need organizers, you know, and we also need celebrities to take responsibilities for what they say. You know, I grew up, you know, everything I do because basically hip hop music. And so the lyricists and the rappers that I was listening to in the day were responsible, hyper-educated, politically minded poets. You know, folks like KRS-One and Chuck D, a Public Enemy.
Yeah.
All right, some old school hip hop heads.
Got some love in the house.
But even now, you know, I think that, I mean, I'm really interested in what Jay-Z says. I'm interested in what Kanye West says. You know, I'm interested in what Common says. You know, I think in the spring I'm going to be teaching a class with Common at UIC.
Oh, that's
you know?
great! Wow.
And
that's great.
so I think that you know, these are in some ways, Jay and Ye in particular are kind of poet kings. You know, like back in the Greek days when we had, you know, like poets and artists who also influenced culture at a mass level.
Right.
And so I remain interested in that idea. Now, I, unlike Jay-Z, have a critique of capitalism. I think that ultimately capitalism doesn't allow for equity for all. You know, Jay, in my estimation, is about the occupation of predominantly white spaces with black bodies. And I think that that's important. You know, I think that we need black cultural institutions and banks and hospitals for there to be fairness. But I also have a critique because I think ultimately capitalism only allows for the wealthy to have a bunch of shit and for regular working folks to not have that much.
Sweet Jesus, you are running for office. I mean,
No, I just talk a lot of shit. I don't know what, you know, yeah.
well, I'm sort of surprised to hear you say that you actually think that celebrities kind of can hold our attention like that.
They do, right?
No,
We
they hold
stay
our
like
attention.
looking at
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian.
But yes, but that's okay.
Some
so
of y'all
that's
more
not
than
a
others. You know what I mean?
But that's the problem.
She's not a leader, no.
Well, that's the problem because they're not leaders, right? So some people who have the voice of the public really aren't leaders. I mean,
Yeah, they have a gig. It's
yeah,
their
they have a gig, and
that's part of the gig is to have press, and I mean, they're not, and a lot of them complain when they're held up as an example, you know, someone twerks, or not that fool, but
Wow.
not that
That's
fool.
twerk, yes,
but
right.
you know, just say what's her face, Rihanna.
Yes, yeah.
Well, you know, when she stayed with her boyfriend, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're an example for these young people," and I actually sat there and I thought, no, she's a girl who's a singer, who's a star,
And that's it.
It's her gig. If she
Yeah.
wants to be an idiot and stay with the boy that kicks her ass, I mean, you know,
But
that's her.
they're not even related.
Yeah.
Like, that's her
But
business.
you know,
and-
but people are putting her. I said, I think there are other women that we could use as examples, but maybe that's the generation. Maybe it's the girls that are put it. But I don't think of them. The ones that are leaders, though, you know, they take a stand.
They take, control.
Like old school, like Harry Belafonte, celebrity, a leader, civil rights. I mean, you know,
Right,
that's
right,
one. And did he chastise Jay-Z
Yeah.
for not saying anything? All this stuff going on
Uh-huh.
in our country,
Well-
and they're not saying anything.
But the example, I mean, Kanye West is a Chicago
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
And so for him to be on national television during Hurricane Katrina and say
Right.
that George Bush doesn't care about black people is actually not only a truth, but a profound statement. And he went out on a limb. I mean, to me, that was courageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
really did go out. Yeah, he sort of took a stand. And
Yeah.
But so it's a funny line of, you know, just because you're a great singer, a great rapper, or, you know, and you've got the voice of everyone, now you're taking on kind of a new role. I mean, sports figures in particular, they really have
Yeah.
everyone's attention.
Yeah, they do, and it's. I think you both are so fortunate because you look at it from a different perspective. I think, you know, a lot of people when they hear the term leader, they think of that profile, that stand-up person. But it's so much more than that. There's so much. You know, I love all kinds of music, and I love poetry, and there's so many messages in so many different ways to say things. But the central theme that I try to find out when I'm really listening to music for what's there, the message, is that we're all centered. And, you know, I will tell you just from Mark Trestman, who leads in a different way. A lot of people say this guy's really different. You know, he is, and he does lead in a different way. He leads from the understanding that we all are in it together, but it starts with individual accountability. And you have to be willing as a leader to stand up and account for yourself first before you can lead others.
Absolutely right. So that's why, absolutely right. So that's why I wonder, we talked about this a little bit before, I wonder, you know, with sports figures, sometimes I'm confused about it actually. I mean, sometimes their ability sort of supersedes if they've, you know, I think of like the O.J. Simpsons or Michael Vick, and yet Michael Vick's still playing. And so, you know, but he's got that captivation of an audience, and yet, you know, he's in a leadership role. Now, I understand he's not a leader. He's just a regular guy, and that's, you know.
But that's why I love when athletes take a stand, you know, and I think that there's also a rich history and trajectory of athletes becoming political or seizing a political moment. So recently around the Trayvon Martin murder and the George Zimmerman verdict, LeBron James organized the Miami Heat to take a picture in hoodies. And to me, like, LeBron didn't need to do that. LeBron is paid, right? But to me, he is using his celebrity in order to make a larger point about systemic racism in this country. And so I give him tall props, you know, for that moment. And I mean, to me, there is, like, Muhammad Ali is one of the most profound political figures of our time, you know, and I mean, he's been commodified himself, you know, in some ways, but in the moment, in the day, Ali stayed using his celebrity and his profile to talk real things to the establishment.
Yeah, right, he did. Yeah, in a very deep way, actually. I want to pull Marty into this conversation because he kind of lives it and breathes it in a really big way. First, I'm going to read a quote from Walter Payton, and then I'm going to ask Marty. So when we speak of role models, when we talk to our kids, everybody's a role model, everyone. Just as you look at Michael Jordan to be the terrific athlete that he is, everyone's a role model. And so if you look at that and you think, well, everyone's a role model, I'm wondering, Marty, because you're in it, you're so in the thick of it, do you think we hold sports figures or other celebrities to too high of standards?
Hello, guys.
So Marty Bennett's in the house, right there.
Well, that's not necessarily because when it comes to the kids, I believe that they only can hear those whose voices are out there to be heard. So there's a lot of people who have great things to say and great ways to lead, but they can't be heard. But as an athlete or someone that's famous, they're always in the public eye. So they have so many chances to voice their opinion. So what our kids see these days are totally different from when y'all growing up, because of social media, there's Instagram, there's so many ways to access all these characters or these people in leadership roles as far as being seen all the time. So when you think of, even when you talk about politics, usually you always see Obama giving a speech, you always see him. So kids these days, the American dream used to be different. It used to, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to own a home, I want to do this. But now the American dream is changing because of what's in society, the way society is changing. So now everybody wants to be famous. Everybody they don't really realize what hard work is or how to get there. They just see the final picture.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
When it comes to kids, I always think it comes back to the parents. My dad and my mom are my number one role models in my life. So
it has to start there.
So it has to start. The foundation that you build as a parent is the same one that your kids will build on eventually. So it's just like inheriting land. So the land that you plow for your kids, what you groom and what you plant and the way you water and you grow your seeds are the same type of seeds that your kids are probably going to plant and grow as they move on. So if you're out there planting pine cones, which are good for nothing, maybe spray paint them and put them on the back of the toilet so they match the decoration in the bathroom. But if you're out there, you're planting sweet potatoes and okra and all the other good things that you like to eat. Let's just say that's food for thought. So if you're out there planting all these great ideas and showing them that they could dream, and there's so much more. Because where I come from, everyone thought they had to dribble a ball or catch a ball to get out of this situation.
Right. Yeah.
So what I tell the kids is, I grew up in the band playing instruments. There's so many other ways to get scholarships. You could get creative writing. There's instruments. But like she said earlier, they're not introduced to these things. They've never seen it. No one coming from where I came from comes back to tell a story about, hey, I made it with creative writing. It's all like, I had the best jump shot.
Yeah. We're gonna have to hook you up with Louder Than a Bomb. Seriously, that could be something nice.
Right. My wife is right here. My lovely wife. Y'all can clap for her. When I say lovely wife, y'all say yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But my wife just said that looks like a guy you want to hang out with.
So I have a tweet now for Phil. Let's see if I can get to the right page here. Phil, this person, K.I.K. McNally, you have won 2 Bears tickets. You crazy thing. Good for you. She's won Bears tickets. How can athletes make an impact or change a cultural change in local communities?
Just get involved. I mean, that's, find a passion and get involved. That's what Martellus has done. That's what a lot of our athletes, our players with the Bears, and I know all the sports teams in the city have, but just find a passion and get involved.
Yes.
Invest the time.
Yeah, and this is one of the nice things that I like about Martellus, and I hope you guys all talk to him if he's not talked out, poor thing, because we had a lot of press here when we started the night. But, again, such an authentic individual, and very much like Phil, so open-minded. Marty's got so many things going on in his life, so really interesting to talk to him. But since we're talking about Phil at the moment, maybe we should see a little bit of Phil in action. Let's see if we've got a video showing what Phil does every day.
In this great city and our great fans, I'd like to introduce to you Mark Trestman, head football coach, Chicago Bears. Extremely thrilled to present 2 fine athletes to you as new members of the Chicago Bears. Good to see you. You too. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Bears. I believe in our goals, and I believe in your goals, that we have the talent in this room, the people, and the relationships in this room to win championships and do it on a consistent basis.
Plenty of change this offseason, not only coaches, players, but scouting staff, facilities as well. How have you been able to control all of it?
The change in terms of being able to learn how to adjust is always good. It's a growing experience, but in terms of managing, it really comes down to the quality of people that you have around you and letting them do their jobs. And we have excellent people in terms of our directors, our scouts, the folks in personnel, and our coaches.
Now that we are here at this first preseason game against Carolina, did the roster come together like you envisioned?
Well, let's take it all the way back to when I came in, and the first thing I said when I was asked that question is that we need to get more weapons around our quarterback. So certainly we're moving in a positive direction in that. The rest of it is filling out the team with sudden, dynamic, playmaking athletes and trying to continue to increase in that area so that our roster becomes a little more competitive. Competition drives you.
Go get it! Turn and run! Good, turn it up. Let's go! Hurry up! Well done up front. Well done up front by that group.
What about your relationship with Coach Tressman?
Mark teaches you to listen because he has so much to offer, and you want to absorb everything that he has. But what's great about him is he does an equal job of listening. He really likes to share, and our relationship has continued to build from there.
And when you talk to the players, at least in my position, you see that the players are embracing the type of person.
Mark calls it an authentic relationship, and I buy into that term too. It's important that you know somebody at a personal level before you ask them and demand excellence of them. And believe me, Mark Tressman will demand excellence of them.
There you go. Just finding ways to get another completion.
I'm a firm believer in that. Obviously, Mark has been able to convey that message and make it have substance.
40 plus of the 90 players are playing in the final year of their contract. How does that affect your 1 to 2 year plan with this Bears roster?
To me, it's all day to day for everybody in every life. We're not promised a new day. So certainly, there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle to come together in the future, but we're extremely concentrated on right now, 2013. So my mindset is on 2013. And whatever I can do as the general manager, and I continue to call myself a scout because that's what I am, whatever I can do to help this team create competition and improve this roster, that's what I'm focused in on. We owe it to our fans to put the best team possible on the field to compete at the highest level now. The steps, they have to be earned. Every level that you go have to be earned. And our goal is to win as many games as possible, and at the end of the season, be in a position to be in the playoffs, get in the playoffs, and go as far as we can take it, with the goal being to win a championship.
And so genuine and caring about what someone stands for, and then you can ask something of them. So it's really no surprise to me that you're sort of connecting with the general public in Chicago, and they're respecting that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, oh God.
When during this course of you developing this unbelievable program that you have, did you think you were going to have a jock
Never.
sitting next to you,
Never.
talking about stuff that gray hair guys talk about?
All right, so I know nothing about sports, but I looked this all up last night, and so now
quick study.
I know that Mark's your coach. I know, so your quarterback was hurt yesterday. I'm very sorry. Will he come back? Will he be better?
He will be better.
He will be better. I'm glad to know about that. I never thought I'd have a jock until a jock came to me. That was you. You were the one who said, well, I like the arts, Elizabeth. We can find a commonality.
Right. Now we have it.
And now we have it.
We have had dinner together.
We have had dinner together. And I am sorry to do this. I'm going to give you a little bit of my sponsors. Let you all sort of drink some wine. We're going to be right back in about 90 seconds right after we hear from our sponsors. And Lynn cools off.
Disaster Planning and Response Art Rescue is a first responder for the world of art, providing planning, packing, evacuation, conservation, and storage for all your treasured possessions.
actually, why you would run your organization, listening to Phil on that video, why you would run your organization very much like a sports organization, or at least having some of those goals. Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about it, but for those of you who don't know, and I'm not sure if it's possible to not know about Louder Than a Bomb here in the city, but if you don't know about Louder Than a Bomb, tell us exactly what you do and how successful it's been.
Yeah, thanks. Louder Than a Bomb is the Chicago Youth Poetry Festival. It's the largest youth poetry festival in the world. It's located right here in Chicago.
Yes.
And it's a real simple idea, is that we engage young people in the classroom in high schools around the city, and we get them to tell their story about who they are and where they come from. And then we form teams in an after-school program that looks something like a sports team after school, and they get ready to participate in our festival. And it's a competition where, Simeon will go up against Kenwood, will go up against Northside College Prep, will go up against Team Inglewood, and they'll battle, basically, with words, and with poems, and with stories, and then they'll advance to a citywide finals. So we started in 2001 after a few things happened. I've been educating young writers in Chicago since '97, but in 2001, the city council was trying to pass an anti-gang loitering law that was locking up kids of color for hanging out in groups of more than one. And then also in that same moment, the towers had fallen, and it seemed like America wanted to criminalize every brown person around the planet. And so in that moment of fear, and we wanted to create a culture of hope. And so we wanted to bring young people together to do the work of restoring some sort of hope and decency, and bring them together to do the work of telling their stories. So we started with a handful of teams in a basement of a theater in Wicker Park, and 14 years later, we have 110 teams, which represent primarily Chicago public high schools, and they field teams of 8 to 10 young people, and they come together every February and March, and they do this work of telling the essential stories about who they are, how they feel.
Yeah.
In an hour and a half bout, you'll hear the spectrum of experience of what it's like to be a young person in Chicago in this moment.
Right, yeah. And it gives them a
Thank
voice.
Thank you.
It gives them a voice that they wouldn't otherwise have. And I'm wondering, once they find that voice, what sort of change do you see in them? What sort of opportunities do they then create for themselves once they've been given this start?
I mean, the graduates of our program, first of all, we graduate in, double the rate of CPS. CPS doesn't graduate half of its students, which is an F.
Yes, yeah, right.
And we're up around 87% of the folks who come to our festival graduate high school, and many of them will go on to college.
Wow.
But part of what our young people do is that they become believers in the importance of public discourse. They see themselves as having something to say about the day's topics.
And a valued voice.
Yeah, and that they could have an influence in it.
Right.
So they go on to become journalists. They go on to become rappers. I mean, Chicago right now is in the midst of a hip-hop cultural renaissance.
I know, it's so exciting.
The best music that's being made, I think, in my estimation, in the world right now are being made by young people in this city, 16 to 24. Those young people are our students who've emerged around the festival. Folks like Chance the Rapper, Vic Mensa, a woman named No Name Gypsy, a band called the Oh My's. Like, these are all folks who are making music in this city right now that if you haven't heard about, your kids have definitely heard about.
Okay.
And they all emerge around this festival. And in part, it's because their homies are now folks from the west side or the south side or the suburbs even, and they feel like they are hyper-literate participants in dominant discourse. And they're making music and poetry and song that is representative of that culture.
And that has power.
Yeah.
So it'd be so great to see poetry take on like the sports power, and I understand why our culture loves sports, but it'd be great to see. I don't know, maybe you should go. Maybe you also have a connection. All three of you can get, and you too. You can go sing there. You can go sing to Louder Than a Bomb.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe we see some Kevin action. Because we've been talking a lot about Kevin Does. Why don't you go do what you do?
All right. I can do that. I got you.
And then I have a tweet for you when you get back.
You have a tweet?
I have a tweet for you.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna read two short poems. All right. And this first, the book I'm writing right now is tentatively called The Second City, and it's about the two cities we live in. The reason why we're called the Second City is not because we are on the jock of New York. You know what I mean? It's because we, after the fire in 1871, built ourselves again. So we were on some Phoenix shit and rebuilt ourselves, reimagined a better city than the one we had before. And so part of what I'm invested in and interested in is thinking about various metaphors for Chicago. And so for me, the middle linebacker is an appropriate metaphor for this city because those dudes seem to work very hard. So this poem is called Middle Linebacker. It's brand new.
Woo!
All right. There is a lone goal. Defend your end zone. Hold the line. All a body can do is break and heal. Hunker down. Destroy. The quarterback will be celebrated. White headlines etched with stats accrued. Land run over. Headlines line. Cages animals shitting. Just prepare for onslaught. A peripheral force is coming and wants to dance on the turf you worked hard to make your own. You are rusted steel and a slab of meat. Butkus, Singletary, Urlacher are the names of men. We are a canon of working bodies playing above ability and pay scale. No one will cross this line. Nose broke on the gridiron, blood in the stool, a madness, a tradition, a monster in the middle of the midway. Hold the line with all your muster. Your livelihood depends on the body's ability to be knocked down and get back up quicker. We play every Sunday, rain or shine. Just grind, just grit and third shift, entrench yourself. This battlefield will chop block your legs. Rise up, dust off. Your head is a battling ram. Your shoulders grindstone. Knock someone the fuck over.
Yeah. Kevin Coval! And I have a tweet for you, sir, but I think this kind of can apply to everyone here. Maybe you can talk about a little bit. And by the way, the person who has tweeted has just won that book, right? That's the tweet. That's the tweet.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, so your tweet is from Jeannie M. Folk. What is your biggest challenge in bringing people together? Actually, I'll throw it out to all of you. I'll start with Kevin, but.
Well, ours, in some ways, is a matter of resources. You know, so I'm the artistic director of Young Chicago Authors, which is the nonprofit youth literary organization that brings together young people and runs this festival louder than a bomb. You know, and so it took, I think, something like $525 million to build Millennium Park, and they were 4 years late. And that's a dope park. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I like hanging out in Millennium Park. You know what I mean? There are also 525 Chicago public schools. You feel me? Not anymore since they closed 49 of them. But prior to that, there were 525. And so if those kinds of resources were levied and given to make sure that all students in this city were educated in the same way, our city would look radically different.
So it's very interesting because I almost had the mayor here tonight as a guest, and that would have
Trust. The mayor knows how I feel.
I mean, I'm sure he does. So, but this doesn't surprise me. Money. I mean, you're so your arts to the core.
Resources and access, and I think we need to open the city. You know, I think like the cultural institutions, like the Art Institute, which is built on public land, needs to remain for the public. Education needs to remain public and not privatized. You know, we have a push in this city, you know, to privatize everything. You know, the parking meters, the CTA, the education system. But really, these things are for the public good and ought to remain in our hands as a citizenry to decide what happens. You know, they shouldn't be sold to corporations who also devise defense strategies. You know, yeah. And so for me, I think like, you know, Chicago works when you allow the people who work for it to make it such a great city are also allowed to determine the course of the city, you know.
You guys, how do you feel? What's your biggest challenge for bringing people together?
I was just thinking, listening to our new mayor.
Yes, seriously. I'm not kidding.
You think.
On a ballot coming soon.
But I'm writing a play, and of course resources, whatever, but are also always an obstacle.
Yeah.
But I'm writing a play, and I was trying to pick themes that would be universal, and mine are more feminine. It's weight, women's view of themselves,
Sure.
that kind of thing. But then there's a strong element of race, identification, history, because I have a typically American history, but my great grandmother was a slave, and my grandfather had to flee a lynch mob, and that's how we ended up north and that kind of thing. But trying to figure out what themes to actually focus on. It's like, do I want to do a show about weight? And being a woman, my issues can be narrow by choice. I want to talk about weight, but not everyone can relate. I know people can relate to weight and body image, but my thing is I want to key in on obesity, which is an issue in this country, of course, but I mean, a person that's 25 or 30 pounds overweight, they don't get what I go through. If they're 80 or 100 pounds overweight, they might get it. So that's a thing. It's like, but do people? So it's themes. Trying to figure out what themes, should they be universal, or should I just
Speak
be
your
true
truth.
to me
Yes,
and speak
right. So
my truth?
I see.
And
Yeah, I can understand where you would waver between those two. And in the end, you probably come down on you have to speak your truth.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I said all that, but I'm just gonna do my thing.
Yes, right, yes.
I was trying to,
Phil, what do you think? What's your biggest challenge in bringing together?
I'm going to give you a little bit of an analogy, and it is something that in this role that I finally understood some things about the challenges of bringing people together, because in this role I'm involved in negotiations.
Right.
And, it's usually about value and worth to the team, but really what I found that, you have to be able to bring both parties together to agree. And there's a lot of obstacles or walls thrown up between the parties to get to that point. And to really, until people are willing to accept the differences first, we have to accept that we have a different outtake, and you have to learn from that we do have differences, and what is there to learn from each other, and then you'll find common ground.
Right.
Once you do that, and then once you find common ground, then it's a really interesting play, and I think this happens in all aspects of life. Both parties have to be willing to say no, and you have to be willing to accept no, and still push through, so that you ultimately come together. If you can't handle no, you'll never come together, because it'll just be an open discussion forever. You'll never find a way. There has to be that final boundary. You have to be willing to say, this is it.
Interesting.
And then people will move more towards the center.
So
and that happens in every negotiation that I've been involved with.
No is what brings you closer to
Including Martellus, although he may have not known it, but I think he was running the show in the background. He may not admit it, but there's a no. He had a no. We had a no, and then we found a way to come together because we completely understood the parameters around what it was going to take to come together.
That's so interesting, but you'd done the research first to find out your differences.
Oh yeah, you do your research.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, you do your research in all areas.
Well, the way that we're all coming together now is food. So let's focus on what our chef has for us, because it's all in front of our face. I think I can hear everyone shout away. Let's see what the chef has for us with our entrees.
Tonight we'll be cooking a serrano-wrapped pork tenderloin with pumpkin risotto, sage, and a chanterelle cream sauce. To start our pork tenderloin, we're going to add a little butter to our pan. Damn, this oven's hot today. We're going to take our serrano-wrapped pork loin that's been sous vide at about 140 degrees for about 45 minutes, so it's already cooked. We're going to place in here just to crisp up the pork. When people ask why restaurant food always tastes so much better, you're looking at it. No fear of butter. In French, this is called to poêler. And we're just going to get a light crisp on the serrano and then let it rest before we slice it. That's going to go to the cutting board. To make our sauce, We're gonna add our chanterelles to the pan. While the chanterelles are sauteing, we're gonna add a little bit of garlic, shallot, and thyme. Season with salt. This is gonna be the base for our sauce for our fork. So now that our mushrooms are getting nice sauteed, we're gonna deglaze with a natural jus of pork. I went ahead and took the liberty, because it takes a while, to make a gastrique of pear relish. We have diced Asian pears with a little bit of champagne vinegar, honey, and a little bit of vanilla and cinnamon. Last but not least, we'll make our risotto. So we've started with some risotto that's cooked about 75% of the way there with shallots and white wine. We're gonna add to it a puree of pumpkin. Pumpkin. It's fall. We're gonna add a little bit of salt, a little bit of sage, some diced pumpkin that I wish looked like the pumpkin puree, and a healthy bit of heavy cream. Cooking light tonight. We're gonna put this on the fire and let it get mixed. Oh, it's really cold. Now that our risotto is mostly finished, we're gonna finish it with some Parmesan Reggiano. And now we can build our dish. First thing we're gonna do is to lay a line of our risotto. Next, we're going to slice our pork. Our pork tenderloin is all one consistent temperature throughout, a perfect medium rare to medium. I'm going to place this on the risotto. Add a little bit of the pear relish, a little bit of sauce, microgreens from our friends at Chef Garden. These are mustard greens to kind of go with the fall flavors. And that's it. Pork tenderloin with pumpkin and sage risotto, chanterelle sauce, and Asian pear relish. This is Jared Wentworth, and thanks so much for allowing me to cook for you guys at the dinner party tonight. We had a blast.
Jared up here with us. Time to belly up to the table since his hard work is done. I think Jared's not far behind.
Hi, everybody.
Come on over.
back.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Okay.
Way to work, Chef.
So we've been talking about hard work. And sweet Jesus, you work harder than anybody I know. I'm not kidding. So Longman has these 3-hour waits. You just opened Du Sex, which was, when I was there, packed, and you'd only been open 3 weeks. And now he has another restaurant opening in Hyde Park. When is the timeline for that?
Around February or March.
Around February, March. So Longman's only been open, what, 2 years?
4 years.
4 years. Okay,
It feels like 10.
I believe you. So how do you work these incredible hours?
I just always have. I have a dedication to my craft. I think that, is what is needed to do it, to do the 16, 18-hour days.
Yeah.
And get off on it, enjoy it.
Right.
Have a great time.
Yeah, there's no way around the work.
Nope.
If you really want to excel, you guys know this, if you really want to excel, there's no way around the work. The only way is through the work.
It's in any profession. If you want to excel, you need to put the time in.
Right.
That's it.
Yes. Well, so we've been talking on a subject just tangentially, and I'd love to bring it up with you and then also hear from everybody else. I consider you wickedly successful because you're the
thank you.
only gastropub with a Michelin star.
Thank you.
What do you attribute? Yes, right, everybody. And if you have not yet been to Longman and Eagle, we're all going. And Du Sex in Pilsen is so great. What's the name of it? Du Sex. I know, it's crazy.
D-U-S-E-K-S.
If you didn't
Not
hear.
Du Sex.
Right, yes.
Sex.
I thought I misheard that.
No.
Well, I know you did, considering you requested that song.
That's a
So-
totally
okay.
different restaurant. We'll touch upon that later.
Yes, okay, so it's not D-U-S-E-K, it's D-U-S-E-K apostrophe.
Yes.
Y'all are
okay.
fancy.
Right, yes, okay.
The sex would be totally different.
So what do you attribute your success to? And then I want to hear from everybody else, too.
I think what I would attribute my success to is really my staff. You're only as good as your staff. I can have all the craziest ideas in the world for food. It's those guys that implement it. You know, it's my chef de cuisine Hillary. It's my chef de cuisine Matt Kearney. These are all people that put in the same level of dedication that I do, and make this wonderful product and make it happen.
And it really is a wonderful product because it's so creative. Things I would never think of bringing together.
Thank you.
Yeah, really wonderful. What do you guys attribute to you? Because you're all really successful at what you do.
First of all, the cauliflower.
Yes, so
Thanks,
he is
Beth.
vegetarian.
Thank
It was
you.
great. Yes.
Yeah, vegetarians. I think we created 8 more tonight.
Did we? Okay, go vegetarians. But the reason I'm eating meat, I just want to say, I only eat meat if I know that it's humanely treated, and they only get things from small farms where things are cared for, humanely treated, etc.
That's
the
100%
only reason
correct.
I have to clap for
Yeah,
that.
small farms.
I don't believe in that, so I don't care about that. Okay, so why do you think you're successful, your staff?
My staff, I think everyone brings something to the table that work in my restaurants, and that's how we kind of go through the process of hiring people. It's a very long hiring process. Typically, it's 3 or 4 times of working full days for free, then coming in and, really, what do you have to offer us? This is what we have to offer you. What do you have to offer us? What do you bring to the table?
So they have to share that work
It's a
ethic.
give and give, absolutely. You have to be willing to work 100 hours a week and not bitch about it.
Wow. How about you guys?
One of the things I love about Chicago and I hate about Chicago is that they appreciate craft. Chicago is a working person's town.
It is, yeah.
And so if you're an artist, if you're a chef, which is an artist, a singer, what you do is an art. Chicago doesn't care unless you work hard.
It's so true.
And to me, as an artist,
broad shoulders.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And to me, that's a gift as an artist because I have 4 books of poems, but Chicago doesn't really give a shit. You know what I mean? So I have to stay making books of poems.
Yes,
I have to stay excellent in my craft. So
Yes.
in part, and I like your feather floating.
the boa feathers are just like going all over here.
Chicago's about the grind. Chicago
It
is
is.
hustle city, grind city. And like we produce the illest shit because we work so hard.
Yes, right.
That's
Yeah,
my
we don't tolerate like foo-foo stuff. Like if you're not doing the work, forget it.
Right, we don't care about celebrity.
Yeah, no, we really pretty much
We're not
we don't.
impressed.
No, we're not. No, it's so refreshing to be here.
Yeah.
Very true.
Unlike the coast.
Unlike the coast,
Well, like
absolutely.
you can sneeze on the coast and get on. You know what I mean? But in Chicago, it's like, homie, I don't care if you have a platinum record. Like, I'm still not fucking with you. You know what I mean?
Let's see your work. Yeah, let's see what you have to show for yourself. Yeah.
Basically.
And we get behind each other. We really respect people who are working hard, and we get behind that. So that's great. You, miss?
I'm not afraid to make a fool of myself.
That's always important.
I don't know. Does that ring true? I'm not sure.
Well, I meant on stage, in performance, and authenticity. Most of the time, I am about this is who I am, and I have no fear, and I sing the truth, and I'm nice to people. But I mean, of course I know my shit. I mean, I know what I do, and I have a fantastic band.
Yes, you do.
Same
yeah.
players
Yeah.
for over 16 years,
Wow.
same musicians, which is very rare.
Rare.
Yeah, it's because I'm a doormat. I'm a good band leader. So, but all men and me, and but I think people see that I'm sincere and genuine.
Yeah.
And I just
Authenticity comes through.
yeah, I mean I'm not people like to watch a clown.
Did you like watching Lynn?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute to your success?
As our chef said, what do you bring to the table? I'm going to misspeak here, or misquote. It was Lil Wayne that said, "If you don't be sitting at the table unless you got something to bring to her." Okay, so
Phil has quoted Lil Wayne.
I know.
It's great.
My mind is.
what Lynn had to say, I really found that I've taken a lot of risk. You have to be willing to take risk.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're gonna face plant. I mean, you're gonna take it's hard on your ego, and it's hard on your makeup, but you find out what you're about, You find out who's there for you to help you come off the carpet or off the face plant. But you have to take risks, and it really is about, and you see so little, really. That's when you find the special people that you want to work with, people that understand delayed gratification.
I think it's also finding people that aren't afraid to fail.
Right, delayed gratification. If you can, like you said, embrace that, jump in and go ahead and work. Don't worry about what it brings today. It'll come back to you 10 years from now. That's the key.
Wow. Pay it forward. It's funny, I didn't know if this would come up or not, but I've got a perfect quote. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I've missed. I've failed over and over, and that's why I succeed, Michael Jordan. So I think that's true. You got to be really willing to fail and see that.
Just not on
big
prime
vision.
time. Right. Just not on prime time.
Just not on prime time.
Also, can we get Michael Jordan out his mom jeans? Can anyone talk to him about the jeans that dude wears? Did anyone? I'm just saying, like he dresses like he's a white suburban mother. I mean, I just wish. No one? I'm glad we got 6 rings, but I'm just saying, like, my dude wears pleated jeans that are high-waisted. He didn't use. I don't know what happened.
Well, he's retired. Things have changed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's something. I don't know what he is.
Okay, so I have a tweet for Jared. I'm moving right along. Sorry. Burger 333. You're going to Longman and Eagle. Dinner for 2. Nice job. Nice job. So, Burger 33. Dear.
Boy, I hope this is tasteful.
Oh, gosh. Sorry, I've lost the... Aha! Who do you look up to and who inspires you? Who or what inspires you?
I came up with some I think I was among the last cooks that came up old school, where you could get hit with a pot, where you could get punched by a chef, and where people say, "Oh, I would have sued him." No, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't have worked in the city ever again. I look back to the late great Keith Korn, who I worked for. I look back to the excellent chef David Burke, who I worked for 3.5 years from Park Avenue Cafe in Manhattan back in the day. John Hogan. These were all kind of pillars in the 90s of just exemplary chefs that led the life and that just made excellent food. Those are the guys I look up to.
Wow. So basically, you've got a long-standing line of people that have taught you in some way or another. You've taken
I have
something from
mentors.
them. Yes.
And I have the scars to show if I
Yes.
shave my head from them.
Yes, I believe you. I believe you. And is there a chef right now that you're sort of eager to work with or collaborate with? Because sometimes chefs do that. They come together. For different festivals.
I'm really eager to work with. There's so many chefs that are doing really amazing things.
Yeah.
Sean Brock is a guy. Grant Atkins is another guy. There's just so many amazingly talented chefs that I'm always open to collaboration. So I couldn't really single one out.
I have a great tweet actually for everybody at the table. J.A.I. Wells. Jai Wells, who may be in the audience or may be watching us on Sun Times, which is just as great. You have won 2 tickets to the next dinner party, so rockstar for you, which takes place on November 25th. This question, which is great, what do you all want to be your legacy for the city of Chicago? I'll let anyone and everyone.
I said it earlier, but I don't want to live in a city that is as segregated as we are. If you live on the north side of Chicago, you might not know that black people live in Chicago.
Oh, no, we do. Of course we do.
I don't know, yo. If you live in Lakeview or hang out in Wrigleyville.
I'm Edgewater Rogers Park, man.
Yeah, Rogers Park is mad diverse. But I'm saying, but look, if you go, right now, if you take the red line, white folk do not go past 35th Street. And the resources follow. Do you know what I mean? The resources follow.
I'm not sure.
And so, I'm guaranteed. I know.
That white people don't go past 35th. What about all of Beverly and...
Yeah, Beverly up the hill, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Not when you go to Morgan Park Public High School. When you go to Morgan Park Academy, the resources flow in part because those folks can pay and afford private high school. But for me, we do not have the cosmopolitan attitude of European cities or even a city like New York. We live still in these bubbles of radical segregation. Okay. No, we don't. Have you all been in Chicago? No. Yeah, we do. We do. We live in a radically segregated city. If
So
you
that's
don't-
your legacy.
Yeah, to change that shit.
That's
Yeah.
your legacy.
You know what? Most of the world is like that. Most of the world is like that.
You segregated. You feel?
Well segregated, and I grew up, I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I grew up on the west side, which is where all the black people lived. I mean, that's just where all the black people lived. And it's still kind of like that. We're talking 1960 to, I left Dayton in 79, and it's still like that. A lot of industry left, but most of this country, I mean, you know, London, Paris, I mean, Germany, they're all those are not, that's not
They
a
have-
city.
Germany.
Well, I mean, actually, the whole country, actually. I mean, if you're talking about people of color, if you're talking about
Europe has its own
people of
issues.
African descent or Arab, just I mean, name it, you know, it's like that all over the world.
Yeah, Europe has its own issues for sure.
Oh, and
particularly with
it's
Arabs,
and
yeah.
it's suddenly, I mean, there's this illusion because I grew up as a young person. It's like, oh, the United States was so terrible, segregation, blah blah blah. But Europe was the promised land. All
It's
the
got its
black
own issues.
musicians went there,
Well, there was
and there
too,
was
yeah.
no racism, blah blah. But you
Legacy,
know.
your legacy.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here to keep that train on track. I would like to be known as a performer who did performances that dug in, that reached people's heart, and made them cry, and made them laugh,
Don't you
and
think-
made them dance.
And made them. Don't you think you do that already? She does that. You do that already, I think.
But
Yeah.
that's, you know, that I may, you know, that will continue. That's what I want to be known as the connector. Yeah.
Phil.
Super Bowl.
It's a kind of a tough question, Elizabeth, because, you know, obviously, I'm part of a very public organization
Right.
that affects a lot of people. And we have goals, organizational goals. But from a, you know, once we're all going to find the same resting place, and once people peel back the layers, if somebody says, hey, this guy cared about people, he cared about the common good, and he left it better than he found it, I'll be happy. I'll be well with it.
Very nice. So I was saying to Phil during the break, I could learn a lot from Phil, and I would love it if Phil would write a book. Okay, I'm just saying, I think I could learn.
My ghostwriter's right down, her name is Beth.
Beth?
She's got a good piece of my graduate degree she wrote.
So, Phil and Beth, so again, Beth Emery, the wonderful artist, and I hope you're all going to check out her artwork. They've been married 31 years. Pretty awesome. Jared, your legacy.
My legacy, I'd just like to be remembered as a guy that loved his family, had a great time, employed a lot of people, brought dedication and passion to my craft, and really just as a guy that likes to party.
You've got that down. I know you do. In fact, speaking of partying, oh shoot, we have, I don't know if you guys know this, this is artwork from Martellus Bennett, and it's on a bottle of wine, and Marty's gonna sign it, and anybody can buy them. They're $35, and all the money's going to charity. The proceeds are going to After School Matters. And this is Beth Emery's artwork on a bottle of wine, and she's gonna sign it. $35, so be sure to, after the show, they're gonna be signing bottles of wine, because that's what we do here. So that's how we like to party here at City Winery.
Sounds good.
One last question on the way out. All of you, sort of one-word answers. How do you get through obstacles when you hit them every day in your careers? Bing, bing, bing.
Drink a lot.
Excellent. Kevin?
Work hard.
Work hard.
One word, love.
Oh, good.
It's a whole philosophy I just came to me, just because like when this thing happened with the knee,
Yeah.
and I've been not like the Facebook thing, you know, I know one word, I'm sorry, but sorry, darling, sorry. I've been telling people, you know, when you're feeling bad, when there's an obstacle, there's a negative thing, the best thing to do is to love, share love, give love, tell people who mean something to you that they are important to you, and I did that today, and
Felt great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Love. All right.
Love.
So we've got drink, work, love. Sir?
You know, it's not going to be a one-word answer. I'm not capable of that.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't do that either.
I would say that in every, you used to talk about pushing through obstacles, and I have found this just repetitively over the years, and I'm not always that person. It's somebody else at times. But in every tense situation, in an adverse situation, everybody is just waiting for that person, that one person, to have the calmness to make decisions.
Yes.
And just that brings everybody down a notch and has a calmness and knows what needs to be done. So that's what I try to find, is I try to slow myself down and find that calmness that is going to help everybody find the solution, that we have the right end result for everybody involved.
I think you can also run for office.
I know, I feel
It's
better.
I think Kevin's got a big leg up on that.
Okay, well, you can be the Pope.
Maybe I can be your campaign manager.
He just
No,
said,
I would be your vice president. My brother.
Yeah, I feel
Well,
better already.
I don't.
I know.
It's so true. Yes. Well, okay. So I would say one word. It's physics. Body in motion stays in motion. That's how we're going to end tonight, because we've got lots of bottles of wine. I know it. We've got lots of bottles of wine to sign. I want to thank all of you for coming, because your energy just makes all the difference in the world. So thank you for coming. Thank you to City Winery, because God, they know what they're doing. They're so wonderful. Look at your screens. A gazillion people, hopefully it's going to be up there in a second, a gazillion people work on this show. So I have to thank my entire crew, because I really couldn't do it without them. I, of course, thank Jared Wentworth, Longman and Eagle, for all going. Kevin Coval, currently a poet, but maybe your next mayor.
Yeah.
The wonderful Lynne Jordan, so filled with love. Lynne Jordan.
Yes.
The very knowledgeable Phil Emery. Oh my God. Phil Emery. Okay, so if you thought this dinner party was fun, and we know that it was, you got to join me here again, November 25th. We're going to have international author Scott Turow. We're going to, I know, very fun. We're going to have Sound Opinions, Jim DeRogatis, another drinker, I'm pretty sure. We're going to have Heather Tayroon from Sable. I'm drinking. Heather Tayroon from Sable. Our opening act is going to be Kim Gordon. And just in case you think that that's not fun, we're going to get naked. And we're going to have burlesque dancer. She's got, I know you got to come back. She doesn't really wear anything. She's got this little thing here, but really she's basically naked. We're getting naked for some naked dancing. Burlesque dancer Michelle Amour.
She lives above Du Sex.
What?
She lives above Du Sex.
Of course she does.
restaurant.
November 25th, be here